Welcome back to episode number 2 of the Alone Together podcast. As always, you'll be joined by myself, Will, Lennon, and Isaac. Today we'll be discussing the new console war, what will life be like in 10 years, and do aliens really exist? How have we been, boys?
We have been feeling very epic. I'm not going to lie.
Pretty decent, yeah, not bad.
Yeah, you're making all your little music posters, aren't you?
Yeah, something different to do, you know. I fancied bringing out the artsy side of me, if there is one.
Oh,
I regret saying that.
yeah, that's horrible.
That's pretty horrible.
Yeah, they are pretty good. I tried to have one as my background, but it just sits right in the middle and the rest is just black.
I was thinking, I'll make you one as a lock screen thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't. Right, I had one. I had the Ode to the Mets one, but it just sat in the middle and it was just like black and black at the bottom. So now I've got the old, hang on, I'll show you. You're not going to like it because it's like, oh, it
For
looks
anyone who
like
doesn't know, Lennon's been making some alternate posters for cool songs.
got Martin McFly from Back to the Future.
That's pretty cool, to be fair.
Well, boys, what do we want to crack on with first? What shall we?
What did we say we're talking about? Do you want to go in with big? Do you want to go in the big 10-year life or what?
Let's do it. Why not? I've got
Straight into it. Right,
Yeah.
go on then, Lennon. You be the master. You know, ask us the questions.
All right, so it's kind of a general question, so I thought I'd divide it up into kind of little categories. So, what job do you think you'll have, or what job do you want to have? What are you aiming for in 10
Right,
years?
10 years. So we'll be about 27, 28. Right, so I think obviously I'm heading down the education route. Just today, actually, I've just finished year 12, everyone. So I'm officially,
We get a round of applause.
yeah. So moving into year 13 to do my final A-level stuff. And then I think going to go to uni, train to be a teacher, maybe primary school. I don't know.
What
So
happened to the old English route then? Thought you were going down.
English, it's a disgraceful subject. I'm just putting it out there now. It's too hard. I don't like it. I'm all right at it, but I just don't enjoy it. So, well, it's not disgustingly horrible. I just won't want to do it for the rest of my life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So hopefully, I'll have be in some kind of teaching role in 10 years' time. That should be enough to be trained and stuff.
Mm.
Yeah, hopefully, should be doing all right.
What about you, Isaac?
Myself. Well, I've just quit my joinery course because I wasn't enjoying it anymore. Thought it was a bit not me.
A bit
so
shit.
Now, yeah, it would have been shit after my apprenticeship and that. I just wasn't enjoying it anymore. So I've decided to move on to the public services route. So I've gone into the course at Hillbrook, which I'm quite excited about. So I got on that other day. So that could last for 2 years. Or I can do a third year. This is like, I think it's a diploma, which is like, it's like equivalent to going to uni. So maybe it's like to do with like, I don't know, army, paramedics and like ambulance and police. Like, I see myself going down police route.
Yeah.
I hope so. I would not trust you in back of an ambulance.
Putting out fires or
As could just bring out defibrillators for whatever it is.
Honestly. I've cut my leg.
George.
Coming back at ambulance at like full force.
Yeah.
You can stick to being the driver, I think.
Yeah, hopefully. What are you saying, Lennon?
What am I saying? I'm saying music, something to do with music. Bit broad, but there's a few options I'm thinking of. One being teaching, which I don't know why I like the sound of it, but I do. What else? I would obviously, the dream that's never going to happen is to be a big rock star, playing a big band.
Yeah, well, you can never shut that avenue down.
You can, yeah, I mean, you can still be in a band and play gigs and make money from it, but just
yeah, exactly. Plug Gazillions. Follow Gazillions on Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah, man.
Is there any more apps? Who cares? If you go on Facebook, you're probably a bit of a freak anyway, aren't you? So stick to Instagram. Yeah.
So
Or
yeah, I'm-
both.
so wherever university takes me, that's where I'm going. Pretty much.
Cool, mate. Just ride the
Going
wave.
with the
Ride the
flow,
wave and
brother.
see where it takes you.
Um,
Nothing wrong with that.
Going with another personal question after the job section. Do you think
Yep.
you'll be married? Do you think you'll have kids? Might be a bit early, might not. Personal
Okay,
preferences.
Isaac, mate, you go for this because I read this interesting little article the other day, so I'd like to bring that in afterwards. But I'll let you say your piece.
Right. I think I'd be married surely in 10 years. I can see this new century being, is it a century? No, is it a decade? Decade, sorry. New decade, sorry. Decade, 10 years. Well, the new decade of like being a big part of our lives. So I see like surely that I'd be married the time I'm 27.
All
But
right,
I don't think I'd have kids yet. I think I'd be like late 20s, like
all right.
20, 28.
I'll tell you some sociology stats in a bit about marriage and what the trends are
Oh.
in what's happening. And then
Comic family.
how many kids do you want, Isaac?
How many?
Yeah.
2, ideally.
I thought you were going for 20 then. At least.
One for real.
My guy's
No,
got the
I-
whole cast of Sound of Music as his kids. taking it round.
Cheaper right, doesn't? That's what it is, right? Ideally, I'd have 2, but I think I'd end up like hacking my bollocks off if I'm second going out like quadruplets or triplets or something. And I've got like,
octuplets is what we're aiming for.
yeah, we'll move that up.
What about you, Will? What are you thinking?
All right. So, obviously, the marriage is what I feel like a lot of people aspire for in life. And that's what I think I would aspire to in life. But I was reading this thing, and there was this whole thing about marriage is just this weird social construct that society's created so that nobody's ever lonely. And it's like,
oh, God.
do you know what I mean? That's what it boils
Yeah.
down to is nobody wants to be lonely. And I was just watching this thing, and it was just like, who cares about getting married? Why don't you just move into a flat with your best friend and then go travel around the world? And I thought, do you know what?
Don't sound bad, that, does it?
It's not the worst thing ever, is it? Obviously, I would like to get married, but that's just what some people say.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you can do that, but I feel like the marriage thing is like you're committed fully to each other, and doing that as well would show like you're going around the world together. And if you're like, obviously, you're committed in like a relationship together. Well, what is it they say? Till death part or
Till
something.
death do us part, mate.
Yeah.
Isaac, when he's
Good
getting
try,
married.
good try.
Isaac, when he's getting married, and it's like, and now you can say I do, and Isaac's like,
But
yeah, but.
Excuse me, Pastor. Can I just read your notes, mate?
I will.
yes, please.
Do you take Baba to be your lawfully wedded wife? Yeah, all right.
All right, go on then.
Go on then. Yeah, well, anyway,
no,
I
but-
think about it.
Marriage trends. So what we learn about in sociology is that so divorce is on the incline, which also means that marriage is on the decline. So pretty much like our generation, so like the 25-year-olds, I think still classed as our generation, but like millennials as well, they're deciding to just be in like, oh, I can't think what the phrase is, but it's just where you're in like mutual partnership, but you never get married. And like there's stuff you can do now, so you can like sign over all the like legal rights of marriage, like you own each other's property, so there's no like arguments with like if you break up or anything. So you own each other's property and stuff, but like without getting married. So you just your own partner, aren't you? Because everyone's getting divorced, aren't they? Really?
I mean, engaged but never following through.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, just like being partners, like legally, but a lot of people just don't see the need for it, do they?
Yeah, I guess so. It's when you think about it, you know, what even really is marriage apart from like a signature on a paper?
Exactly.
Even that wasn't a sentence, was it? A signature on a paper.
The paper, signature paper.
Yes.
Done.
Do I think I'll be married in 10 years? I don't know. I would like to be. It'd be, like you're saying, it's a lot of people's goal in life. But kids, nah. I don't know.
Nah.
It's hard to
Kids,
think.
nah.
It's hard to think, 10 years is, the years are going by quick, aren't they? Really?
Yeah.
Before you know it, it's 2030 and
Well, we're almost in August.
yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Man.
It's a bit scary
is.
to think about what it'll be like in 10 years, isn't it? To be fair.
And like, especially with the current climate, it's like, where are we going from here?
Yeah, and talking about that, let's move on from the personal questions and let's talk about the natural things in the world. So natural resources and global warming. What's going to happen?
Okay, so my science teacher told me ages ago that finite resources like fossil fuels will run out after he dies, but not long after at all. So we're going to be a generation living with no like fossil fuels at all, which is like still a massive part of
Yeah.
our life, really, isn't it? But we're obviously more kind of natural means of energy. We've got like solar panels and wind turbines are becoming more popular and stuff, aren't they? Really?
I think we're gonna have to like gradually kind of adapt to them being the only resources we have. Like,
Definitely.
there's no avoiding it, really, is there? With the way we're
That's
going.
what they say with the cars and that, where I think it's it's got to be, I think it's like 2050, might be a bit before. They said that all cars have to be electric because of obviously petrol being a fossil fuel, like oil.
That's going to be so odd, though, isn't it? Like, who do you know who owns an electric car?
Not exactly, but
It's
like
expensive.
I guess the environment and that pollution since lockdown in like certain cities and places like that, where it's just completely like changed, which is mental. I think.
Yeah, because there was like a few
Definitely.
pictures of China before and after lockdown, and like you can
Yeah.
actually see the sky after.
Yeah, and there was like, the canals in Venice were like
yeah.
completely clear, like before they were disgusting, weren't they?
Yeah, it's like all shit went in it.
But it's like too little, too late now, really, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
like the atmosphere is just fucked.
The thing is, like, you can make the argument that Corona's helping the world, and the nature's coming back to, all that crap.
Yeah.
But realistically, what's going to happen when this crisis is over? It's going to go back to normal quicker than you'd think.
Well, you know what, a lot of my normal life seems to be coming like back already. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we've been told that in September there's no staggered coming back to school. It's just everybody across the UK is going back into school.
It's crazy. Absolutely.
Yeah, we've got
It's like pubs are opening, everyone's boozing it up, having time of their life. It's just like it's not happening, is it?
It's just a shame, right? Because we've missed such a big chunk of the year that was like, oh well, we're going to miss as well, like the summer.
Yeah.
That's
We've
just
lost like 3 months of our lives.
more. Like by the end of it, it'll be more, and
Isn't it?
it just feels like I don't want to write this off as just a a waste of time. But it just feels like this year is hopeless now. There's nothing left for it, really.
I reckon I do genuinely think after September, like September to December, I reckon you can make something of it because schools have they're hoping to have no social distancing. So I'm reckoning a lot of people will hopefully be like, oh, this is what we're going to do now. We can go to town, someplace we open, maybe not like nightclubs and things like that. Cause obviously we can't even get to them. But like, do you know what I mean? Like cinemas are properly opened, so I feel like it'd be almost back to normal then. But obviously with certain guidelines, with like nightclubs maybe still closed, and obviously the football stadiums still empty.
Well, we've kind of covered one of the last questions, which is how will
yeah.
Corona affect the world from now? But I'm talking more like, so social distancing. Do you think it'll carry on?
The thing is, it's pretty much, if you can see that, we're effectively working without a lot of human interaction, aren't we? Like,
Mhm.
I'm just thinking, like, shops wise, I don't see why it wouldn't become like even more automated than it already is with like service places and stuff. It's like, realistically, do you need people there apart from stacking shelves?
Yeah, true.
It's like, and eventually, surely you could program robots to stack shelves. Do you know what I mean?
I was just gonna say it's like that is also another problem though, because if robots are stacking shelves and things like that, like
Like
in the
outsource
future,
it.
yeah, it's like taking people's jobs, which people have lost a lot of jobs, which
Yeah.
leaves us as well, the youth who were trying to get jobs beforehand for things like driving lessons, etc. We can't get these jobs because they get to more important things like people with families and like who need the jobs more. So we could be absolutely butchered here for ages until we can try and even get some kind of like income.
Yeah, it's really set everything back by
Definitely.
such a long way. It's hard like to imagine how long it's going to take everything to finally catch up, and you know, it's crazy. Like you were saying about driving lessons and stuff, like driving tests and theory tests and everything. Like there's just a massive backlog. It's
I
crazy.
know. And like, you've got to wear like all your protective
Yep.
stuff while you're doing it all, don't you? Masks and gloves and everything, apparently.
In my driving lesson, I had to wear a face mask, and I had a bit of a nightmare because it was steaming up my glasses every time I
Oh, God.
breathed. So I had to run back home, get some tape, and stick the tops of the mask to my cheek, so it didn't
Jeez.
so the air didn't come from steam on my
Oh,
glasses.
my God.
It surprisingly worked though.
That's good. Yeah, when I was getting my hair cut, the woman was like, Jesus Christ, because every time she was cutting my hair, she could obviously feel my like really warm breath like hitting her hand every time, because you get really hot in them, don't you?
Yeah,
You got it's all weird and breathing in your own face. I hate it.
it's disgusting,
Funny.
but gotta do what you gotta do, bro.
Exactly.
Um,
Stay safe.
well, to top this off, what new technology do you think will have arrived in 10 years? If any, really, you know?
And do you know what? It's mental how far we've come if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Just in everything. It's just like, it's to the point where you can't even contemplate what they're going to make, because think back to like 10 years, like even 10 years before, like anything now, like TVs, do you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
how
Yeah.
far they've come just in 10 years, 20 years. It's like, how the hell do we even contemplate what it's going to be like in another 10 years?
Yeah. Right. So I always think it's 2020. There's been so much invented now, but like realistically, how, like people say about hoverboards and yeah, like space travel and new space, how much
Yeah,
further can we push it? But then you think, in the 80s, they didn't think in 20 years they'd have mobile phones and touch
exactly. Like,
screens. It's like like
in
you were
it,
saying, you can't contemplate it. You don't know.
you can't physically like contemplate things that don't exist. Like
Exactly.
before lights were invented for your house and stuff, like how could they even contemplate like artificial light? Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
You can like predict some stuff though, because there's that train. What's that train that goes under? Is it under the
Eurotunnel,
English? Yeah,
Eurostar,
something
smart.
like that. That's going like mainly around. That's been in works for ages. Things like that. And there's also I saw this thing on Instagram where allegedly they're working on this plane, which is like a jet, but it's like a Boeing where it'll fit loads of people on, and it could fly from London to New York within 3 hours, which is
Mental.
ridiculous. If you think
That's
about that.
mental.
You just can't predict it, can you? Like,
Exactly.
it's like Elon Musk and stuff. He's just pushing the boundaries of everything, isn't he?
Have you
God knows
seen?
what his next move's gonna be.
Yeah, have you seen Elon Musk? You know, he was like promoting Kanye West for president and everything.
Oh,
And
Christ.
then he's actually read what Kanye West is about, and apparently Kanye West is like pro-life, so like anti-abortion, and something else bad. But Elon Musk had to like post a picture on Instagram and say I don't support it
Oh,
because obviously it's not going to go well for him if he's like pro-life. Do you know what I mean?
I think he's anti-vaccine as well.
Yeah, that's it. Anti-vax. He's anti-vax and pro-life.
Oh dear.
I know that's not gone down
Kanye.
well, has it?
Kanye, what are you doing? You know what? The funny thing is, people are going to vote for him, if it all goes through.
I know, but I can
He's-
tell you now that Donald Trump will get in
Oh,
again.
100%. But the fact that
Definitely.
people are going to vote for him for the meme. And
Literally.
Christ, imagine Kanye as president.
He's an absolute pillock.
Have you
Yes.
seen what Kanye's recent post is? I'll just show it to you on the camera. He's posted like a picture of the White
Oh
House
my
with like massive sculptures of his head coming out of the White House. There's flags on the White House that say Yeezy,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
and everyone's dressed in like some weird navy blue, and it looks like a bloody cull. And he's just captioned it, "Anything is possible." American flag.
Mm.
Do you know what though?
Not sure about that
If he was president, if you think about the stupid changes he'd made, he'd say 4 years is such a long time that he can't get like knocked off of it. I don't think, unless he does something that's unbelievable. But I swear, can't he get like certain bill? He could get that changed on top of the White House. I swear, or
Oh,
even
yeah.
his face on Blade Around, or his face on like
Could.
Mount Rushmore.
Well,
or
I
something.
think he'll be in term for 2 years, and then I think they have to. There can
I
be
thought it
another
was 4.
election, maybe. I think he can be in for 4 years max, but I feel like after 2 you have to be reviewed, or at least,
Yeah.
and there could be another presidential campaign
I
again. I'm
think
not sure.
Obama was in for 8, and that's the max you can
Was
do.
he?
Then
But yeah.
I thought it was 4. Then you get checked, and then it gets 4 because Trump's only been in for 4.
Yeah. Speaking of Obama, have you seen this whole controversy around like the pedophile ring?
No.
You know, Epstein.
Oh, that thing.
His assistants leaked these files or something,
Mhm.
and apparently there's these really dodgy group chats with like Obama, Hillary Clinton, people like that, and it's like really dodgy stuff.
Yeah.
Have you also seen that Wayfair thing where they think that Wayfair's selling children?
Oh my
That's
God.
frightful.
It's
I-
gotta
I
be
didn't-
fake. It's gotta be
Yeah,
fake.
I'm not even joking. I wish it was fake, but nah, it's like really suspicious when there's like a cabinet called like I don't even know, like Jake. Do you know what I mean? There's a cabinet called Jake, and it's selling for $300,000, and there's one
and
available.
then they've got like the same picture for another one, but it's got a different name and it's different price, which
Yeah,
makes
but it
sense.
always says like there's one available.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that is some dodgy stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
You don't. You. There's no way of telling like what's going on behind the scenes of everything. That's what's so
I
scary.
know.
Like on the internet and stuff, there's just so much dodgy stuff, and you don't even know
Exactly.
about it.
Even like going back to talking about technology, just like social media is like how privatized our lives have become, but at the same time it's like accessible to everyone and no one
Mhm.
knows it, but they do. But there's just a lot of dodgy stuff going on. But I don't know, there's a lot of positives to it, isn't there? There's
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of new stuff coming out.
Well,
A lot of
like
cool stuff.
I was gonna say before, this whole lockdown and everything, it's kind of made me realize how much, as a society, we rely on technology. Like, we rely on it, but when you really think about it, everything goes through technology now.
Yeah.
I thought about this with lockdown and how, well, obviously we're on the lockdown topic, but I'm just saying like technology and that. If this happened in like, I don't know, like the 50s or something, when they had like barely any phones and like you had to go out your house, like use it, like obviously get a mobile, like what they call them phone boxes. Like now they'd be proper struggling. Like suicide rates would be well up. There'd be
I
people
know
like
it.
kicking off in the houses because obviously you can't talk to anyone. It's too hard.
Exactly, but like being in the house, you need that technology, don't you, just to survive? But like even just like going on your Xbox or PlayStation every day, you just something like that's what spend a lot of my time doing that just because got to have something to do. And that will nicely segue us into the new console war, Xbox Series X versus PlayStation 5. So, boys, are we getting the new consoles? And if so, what are we doing? Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5?
Right. I'm probably not gonna get one of them.
Mm.
It just depends. Like, what time are they even coming out?
There's still not been anything, but I'm gonna think November, December time, I'd guess.
That's what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
that would be probably the best time for them, with it
Well,
being
that's
near Christmas.
good marketing strategy, isn't it? Anywhere
Yeah.
near Christmas is where you're getting your big
Yeah.
sales.
So it could be a possibility if it is near Christmas.
Yeah,
Might be a cheeky ask, and I'm getting whatever the boys get.
that's fair play. Yeah.
I don't know. I've never really bothered, as long as like the rest of my mates are on a certain console, I go for that one.
Yeah.
But statistically, I will admit that the PS5 is
Yeah.
actually it's looking better, isn't it?
What's the word? Like optics, I guess is the word. Like
Yeah.
everything about it. The graphics is apparently going to be better. Frame rate. It's just like it's an elite console, isn't it? To
Yeah, it is.
Xbox, it's like, but obviously there's other benefits that we'll get into in a bit. But when you're looking at the PlayStation on paper and what they've showed so far, you just think it's the elite console.
Yeah.
What are you saying,
Yeah.
Isaac?
I think if I were to, I don't know. It depends how I'm looking on money, obviously, because they're not.
Yeah, we'll have a talk about prices in a minute.
But at the moment, obviously, I'm going to stick with my Xbox One. But if I were to get one, because there is that thing that's going about with Xbox, the new one, where you can play all your old games on that and most 360 games, which obviously sways me a bit because I do own quite a few.
Yeah.
And obviously, if I went on PlayStation, I'm starting fresh and I'd be looking a bit dry and I wouldn't have a lot to fall back on. I can always play old cards and stuff like that, but with that, I just lose everything.
I guess so, but the counter to that is you're not binning off your Xbox, are you?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if you buy a PlayStation 5, you can still load up your Xbox One, can't you?
Yeah, I was thinking that, but I've not. I don't know. It depends on price at the end of the day, I think. That's the main thing.
Well, talking about price, there's obviously loads of rumors about it because it's going to get a lot of clicks in it if you're posting about the new console prices on social media and stuff. But I've heard that the discless version of the Xbox Series X might only be £250. Bearing in mind that the Xbox One was $499, I think.
Jeez.
So to like nearly half, well, no, pretty much exactly half the price of a newer console. Big move, isn't it, from Microsoft?
And it's really small. It's like half the size of the normal. It's just like
yes, they've said it's going to be half the size of the new Xbox, and the new Xbox is going to be small.
Let's talk about looks, because personally, I don't really like the look of either of them. I feel like the Xbox is very bland, and
Yeah, it's black in it. It's black box.
why stick with the flat? You know?
Yeah, like both are going for vertical, aren't they?
Yeah, it doesn't appeal. And the
I don't
PS5,
like.
I don't like. It just looks awkward.
It's like the opposite end of the spectrum, innit? You've got Xbox, which is like bare bones, basic, like one color, like block, and then you've gone with the fucking router looking ass PlayStation 5. It's gonna look like it's from some next level like space engine or something. Do you know what I mean?
I think it'll be a big hit for the little kids. They'll go, "Oh my god, it looks so cool! Gotta get it."
Yeah, I guess so. And then also like the nerdy tech guys who are like, I need to get the Supreme model. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It just looks like, personally, I have my Xbox laying flat underneath my TV.
Yes.
It'd be pretty awkward for me to fit the dodgy looking PS5 in there.
Yeah, whereas if you're getting like the small Xbox, maybe it's just like more just easier, isn't it? Really.
Yeah. But do we know the actual size of them?
They've not. I don't know if there's a. I couldn't. I'm not educated enough to know if there's any like measurements being given
Mhm.
out, but you can see from the images that I'm sure the new Xbox will be smaller than the PlayStation.
It looks a lot. It looks at least half the size. If you look at it, like the PlayStation's like huge compared to
Yeah.
anything. And if
Well,
it's like, do you remember when you get your Xbox One, and if you
Yeah.
bought it, they were like, we don't recommend you put it like vertical because
Mhm.
the way the disc goes in, because it can like churn it. But like it'd be like that with the PlayStation. Like maybe if you put it sideways, it'll break it.
Mhm.
Do you know what I
maybe,
mean?
but they're also releasing a discless version of the PlayStation, aren't they? Which I presume will be
Oh.
cheaper because it'll all be a thing too. I presume disc versions of games, they probably won't make as much money from buying it off the PlayStation Store. Do you know what I mean? So I get that's probably the whole idea around getting rid of discs. And realistically, like digital is like the future in it. Really, like
Yeah.
personally, I can't even remember the last time I bought a disc.
No, I don't buy this often, but it's just like with the ones I have, I just don't know what to do with them. So I mean, with there's a big move from Microsoft, though, like you said, making the not the PS, the Xbox One. What is it? What's it called now?
Series X, I think it's called.
Yeah, Series X, where it's half the size because it's discless. With the PS, they've just made it the same size. Like obviously, you can
Yeah.
condense it because there's no disc tray, but
Yeah.
because Microsoft is like it's like a little fridge looking thing, so obviously you can just squish it down. But the PS is like one big long looking
Yeah.
like DVD player.
To me, the fact that they'd bring out a PS5 discless, that appeals to me because, like you were saying with the Xbox, we already have the discs for them and all that stuff. But if we were
Yeah.
to, this would be my first time like getting a new console with a different
Yeah.
brand, a different company, and I don't have, I haven't already bought games for it, so. And if it's cheaper to get the discless, why the
Exactly.
hell
It's
not?
all realistically, a lot of it is gonna come down to price, in it. Like
Yeah, 100%.
it's like why would you want to buy a more expensive console? But then if you talk about like again like the graphical capabilities, it's just have you seen any of like the gameplay trailers for games? Because like Xbox did an event, and it was like in-game footage of Xbox Series X, and it was just like this. Yeah, all right, it'd look like a good game if it was released on Xbox One. And then bloody PlayStation had done their event, that little
Yeah.
Spider-Man teaser and everything. It just looks so much better.
I saw a video on Instagram the other day. It was comparing sales of like pretty much all the consoles.
Yeah.
PlayStation is pretty much always taking the lead over Xbox, which I
Yeah.
was pretty surprised at. I didn't know that.
I think it was like Xbox 360 was the one that people got over PlayStation 3, but apart from that, everything else is always PlayStation.
So I think PlayStation is going to take the lead again, but I think the majority of people who already have an Xbox, they're going to stick with an Xbox.
Probably.
I feel that
I
way.
personally think I will because of other things like my account. I just have to start a new. But also, I was thinking about how if it releases in December and Microsoft make obviously the £250 console, which you're on about, as the coronavirus and that make obviously the economy is struggling and people are going to have to get the cheaper option, so which will boost Microsoft sales in a way, and it'll just make it technically more successful than the PlayStation 5 from launch.
Yeah, but it's like there's also to do with exclusives coming out. Like if you compare Xbox exclusives, like Gears of War and Halo are like the big players, aren't they? Really on Xbox,
Maybe
and then
Forza as
like
well.
big players in quotation marks compared to like the list goes on PlayStation exclusives like Uncharted, The Last of Us, Spider-Man. Obviously, like
that's a big one.
the Spider-Man game that came out was obviously like a massive game to come out, and now they're bringing out the like Miles Morales one for PlayStation 5 exclusively. It's like surely that's going to sway a lot of people.
Yeah, 100%. But like we were saying, I think it comes down to money. Like with
Pretty much.
coronavirus, it's set a lot of people back financially.
Yeah,
And when it comes Christmas time, they are going to be going with the cheapest option.
exactly.
Yes, whoever uses the less greedy options, whoever has the cheaper console, but obviously they've got to make profit. 'Cause
Exactly.
if
It's all about
That's-
profit at the same time, innit? They can't be losing profit. So it's like must be a struggle to market for the marketing team to come up with a good
Yeah.
price.
But then if Xbox were to just, play the easy card and go, look, it's dead cheap, but it's also shit because, well, yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
PlayStation's way better.
You pay for what you get. Do you know what I mean?
But we're making more money. It's like, I don't know. I still see Xbox as a loser in that situation.
Yeah, it depends. I need to see realistically, you need to see a graphics comparison like in the flesh, don't you?
Yeah.
You can't like a video on YouTube. It's like you just can't tell. You need to see it on your monitor, your TV, your
Mhm.
screen. Do you know what I mean? To really get an opinion. But obviously, I'm hoping to get both, and then obviously I'll be able to finally answer
Yeah.
which one's better. But it's not an option for a lot of people, is it? Especially
No,
with people
exactly.
who've been off work for ages,
Yeah.
and not everyone's been getting paid, have they? It's
Very
been
true.
bad.
A lot of people have been laid off.
Exactly.
It's nasty.
It was. Oh, I can't remember. I think like a lot of supermarket places are laying people off for some reason. I don't get that because you'd think they'd need more people now, but
Yeah. Well, Weatherspoons right at the beginning. That
yeah, they
guy.
laid loads of people off, didn't they? Weatherspoons is ridiculous. It was somewhat ridiculous. Like I don't even know how much money they got, but it was
Millions, I think.
it was so much more than like the entire music industry got. And it's like Weatherspoons is not a hard place to upkeep compared to like small venues. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
ridiculous how much money the government gave them compared to other people.
It's the local places that matter in your city. It's
Exactly.
like Weatherspoons is a huge chain, like, and the support they've got from the government is unbelievable compared to, like you were saying, the music industry or the performing arts in general. And they only just got given that money as well.
Exactly. It was
Performing
like
arts.
it was like a week ago, maybe not even that. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
It's mad how much these days we have to push it on, well, I say social media, I guess, and in the news and everything, to get the government to realise that they're
I know,
making
to get the government
mistakes.
that we actually like these things. Do you know what I mean?
I've
Literally.
had that thing as well with football leagues. How a lot of teams have gone bankrupt because obviously stadiums and selling of shirts and seats, obviously they're not getting any of that in. So it's just them
Exactly,
spending
'cause-
money on wages.
Yeah.
So all clubs are having to like claim bankruptcy and they just get chucked out of the league, which is pretty bad. So it'll just end up being like top 2 or 3 leagues and maybe even the third league with some teams having to drop out because they physically can't afford to run the club, which is ridiculous.
It's seriously affecting just everything, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
no one's getting away with this brilliantly, are they? Apart from
No.
obviously like the rich and famous, all right. But well, we don't put any political opinion out. But
No.
do you know what? Actually, I'll put it out there now. I'm not left wing and I'm not right wing because there's both
I'm mid-wing.
there's both some extremely negative points for either.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's especially we're young. It's kind of hard to grasp politics as a whole. I think
I try hard, but the thing is, nobody in the entire world that goes to vote knows every single policy that they are voting for when they go to that polling station. Do you know what I mean?
See, the thing is, I know all of Kanye's, bro, and I'm voting for him for.
I know
for
all
Prime
of
Minister.
Kanye's. Babies have to live. You get raped and you've got an unborn child. Gotta keep it. But once you've kept that child, nah, you can't give them any vaccines. If they get a disease, dead. Not my problem, is it, Kanye?
Free Yeezys, bro.
Free Yeezys though, all Americans, free Yeezys.
That's a
I
weird.
mean, like, in the UK, it's either you're Conservative or you're Labour, because the other parties like Green Party and things like that, which are real Green parties. Actually, I'm not even joking. If
Yeah,
Green
no.
Party was bigger, I would vote for Green Party.
Fully agree with you, but we're stuck in this endless cycle of there's two big parties. You know that those two are gonna win either time, and it's like
100%.
then you feel like you're wasting your vote voting Green Party. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, because most people just thought, oh, we don't like the Tories, so we're just going to vote Labour because they're the counterpart to them.
Yeah.
But if everyone
Exactly.
actually went for what they wanted, there might be more of a rounded vote, like Green
know,
Party.
but
They get up.
it's extremely hard to get out that cycle, isn't it?
Yeah, it's choosing the better one of the two.
Pretty much.
That's what it ends up as.
Exactly. It's like the greater evil.
It's a big shame because so much wasted potential, like you say, from the Green Party and all that stuff. Is
Exactly.
their policies, some of their policies. You know, you wish you could just kind of pick some from all of the parties and put them
In a
one.
perfect world, but
Yeah, but unfortunately,
it's hard, isn't it?
that's not how it goes.
Yeah.
Well, shall we move on to do aliens exist?
Do aliens exist?
It is a bit, we've had a pretty serious episode so far. Let's make it more lighthearted.
Yeah, let's bring in the light-hearted Isaac. If you met an alien, Isaac, what would you say to it and why?
I feel like, hey, geezer, fancy spoons.
Oh, oh God, I wish you hadn't said that. I wish you hadn't said that.
To be fair, it depends like what you class. Like,
we'll edit this bit out. Well, you're having that instant shot.
So Isaac, what would you say to an alien? This
guys, I'd be like, I don't know. Would it understand you? Is one.
Right. Okay. We're gonna say it can understand you.
It can understand you.
Can understand you, but it knows nothing about our world. It knows nothing about our culture, our society, anything.
Well, if I'd just be like, well, obviously, when everyone says it in films are like, mean you no harm. So it'd be like that. And then you'd be like, well, this is what we have to offer. And like, we show like, not much. Not anymore. We killed half our friends.
Not anymore. I can give you a few empty nightclubs that are shut down. That's about it, mate.
I'll just show them around the Sheffield PR8 when it go Leadman.
Leadman with no one in it, no one playing.
I guess we'd have like resources and things like that, but we don't even have much of that left. We have like, I guess, the technology, but surely their technology would be more advanced if they could come all the way.
Yeah, I guess so.
I feel like we've skipped a big chunk of the conversation here. The actual question, do aliens exist?
I think there's no way that they can't exist.
Yeah. Alien being something not from our world.
Yeah, anything that's not from Earth.
So it could be bacteria.
Bacteria, little microbes or some shit.
Yes, because there's like that thing on isn't it Mars, where they found like a little bacteria thing. Was it Mars or was it a different planet?
I think it was Mars.
Where they said they found like a little bacteria, which was life form, obviously, which is technically
an alien. Is there life on Mars, Isaac? See what I've done there, guys?
Shut up.
Do you see what I've done there? I have referenced the popular David Bowie.
That's cool, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to think about how big the universe is, but there's got to be life out there somewhere. And another question is, like, do we believe in parallel universes?
I think that's a bit far.
It's a bit science fiction-y, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, do you believe in time jumps? It's just like,
obviously,
I don't
know.
I feel like that's definitely far fetched.
Yeah,
no. Like to be able to think like, on one planet, one universe is me right now, and then in another one, I'm on Oprah Winfrey's show in the 80s. I don't know. I think it's just a bit stupid. Like I don't know. Like it's just they counter. It's just like the possibilities could be endless. And there's that thing where it was like
Yeah, like
Uh,
infinite.
where they saw that the opening to a parallel universe with that.
Oh yeah, some like weird black hole closing in on itself was apparently like it could be a parallel universe or something.
Damn.
Yeah, they just saw it like at the corner of their eye or something, and they were like, "Oh, look at that!" Didn't know that's happened, but we knew.
I do, but I do think there's like other intelligent life forms out there though, as well as just bacteria. You know, I do think that maybe not as intelligent as the human race, maybe more. Whatever it is, I do believe there's got to be something out there, surely.
There has to be the galaxy is infinite.
And we're not saying that they're gonna come in UFOs and destroy the world, because if anything, they'd want to learn. Well, I think they'd want to learn about our planet, and you know,
If you think about it, like we'd want to learn about it, wouldn't we?
yeah, 100%.
Bacteria, though, as obviously it grows and it does different things. Like obviously, mold is mold a bacteria. When like obviously when your bread goes off, it spreads, doesn't it? Like it sounds stupid, but what I mean is, if we take the alien bacteria from Mars and take it back to Earth, it could react differently with our atmosphere, and anything could happen. So it has to be tested on Mars, surely,
True.
before they can safely bring it back to Earth without any doubt in our mind that it could cause another coronavirus, even if it could be worse. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Well,
surely.
yeah.
It just reminds me of that Doctor Who episode, Wars of Mars, where they just like they touch the water and they just turn into mad aliens. But
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're going to turn into aliens, but like you say, it could diseases and stuff. It could be.
There's like when the zombies, you think obviously zombies can't be real, but there's that thing about those parasites that live on dead slugs and snails and stuff, don't they? And like reanimate them pretty much.
Mate, that's
So
freaky. That.
I know you never know, mate. You never know that endless possibilities with
Yeah.
with anything, let alone out of our galaxy. Tuck is still on Earth. Mental.
Sometimes I wonder, like, what life would be like in a zombie apocalypse, or just an apocalypse, I guess, because we've caught a bit of a glimpse, you know, into
We
into
have
that
really,
reality.
haven't we? We have, and it's not unlike the films you see, is it really?
Exactly, like I always say, like it is like we're living in a film right now.
Yeah, but
You wouldn't have ever
like
thought this.
I was going on Netflix like near the start of lockdown, and I was like looking at all like the most popular searches, and it was all like Walking Dead, or just all the zombie apocalypse films. 28 Days Later.
Yeah.
What's the American one, Isaac?
Zombieland.
The Zombieland.
Right.
Yeah, all of them were on there. Like it's just like people kind of immersing themselves in the reality at the same time.
I think, you know, sometime after this is all over, there's going to be films about this. How crazy is that? That
Definitely.
we're living in a piece of history right now.
We're going to be in chapters of history books that people have to
Literally,
do.
yeah, but kids are going to learn about this, you know.
Exactly, because kids in school, you learn about loads of really insignificant things that happen in history, and this is like an actual big one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It'd be like 12 marker. How did Isaac, Will, and Lennon sitting on their ass playing Xbox all day save the population?
Yeah, we just sat and drank tea and hope for the best, and it all worked out. In Shaun of the Dead, where they're like, have a pint and wait for all this to blow over. That's what we're doing right now.
What was I going to say now? But yeah, it's kind of strange because this is kind of the first major pandemic we've had with all the, well, in a modern society, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, because there was the plague and everything, but medicine and treatment back then, they had no clue, did they? They thought they had loads of different theories and strange stuff. But now we actually have, yeah, it's not made a difference really, has it? Hospitals and that.
No.
But the medicine we've tried.
Well, the thing with plague is ridiculous. Like back in day, where it killed like 500 million people or something, which is ridiculous. I mean, how much is Corona taken? Like, I'm not 100% up on it, but it's,
I'm not sure,
so
to be honest.
it's over a million, it definitely, but it's nothing.
I presume
compared to, like,
so. In America, it's nearly 500k, so I don't see how
Bloody
it couldn't
hell.
be a mil.
but they're just full. They reopened Disney, didn't they, the other day?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Christ. Why?
Jesus, man, they actually don't
What I
understand.
don't get is that people actually went. Why? That's the last place you'd want to go.
I know.
Like, I've been
Oh.
there. It's
Yeah.
mad.
I think in England, there's not like the cases compared to deaths is like different. So like,
Mhm.
I think 200. It says here in England, 290,000 cases were confirmed having it.
Yeah.
But 44,000 have died. But that's
Mhm.
obviously only in our country.
Yeah.
Not sure about the
That's
rest.
what it was last time I checked, I think. So we are easing
Yeah.
down, but the annoying thing is, like, the last few weeks, it's the death rate has been sat at like 100 a day, 100 to 200, and it's kind of,
Yeah.
it's like you just want it to disappear, but it's staying there. It's awful. It's awful when you really think about it. 44,000 people. Imagine just lining them all up in front of you. Then you'd really understand, like,
I know, because
a
it
hell of a
just
lot of
doesn't.
people.
Like, I've not even. I don't really know anyone close to that's even
Yeah.
had it. Do you know what I mean? So it's like.
I know a few people who've had it, but I don't know. It feels like I kind of become numb to the idea of people dying.
Exactly, 'cause it's just numbers, isn't it?
Exactly, and it's been going on for so long now that it's just the norm. Like, oh yeah, people have died today. It's like, people have died today from this nasty disease, man.
Yeah. And when
Exactly.
people would go like, "Oh, only 81 people have died today," I'm like, "81, that's right good."
I know, but it's like if you'd killed 81 people, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's mad if you think about it. Like, if you put 81 people, I always think about it. If you put 81 people in one room, that's fucking ridiculous.
Seriously, it's just
Yeah.
it's scary, isn't it? How like we just think it's normal now. It's just a
Yeah.
scary thing. Really.
It has become reality right now.
Yeah.
But on a positive note, we should end it with, you know what? It's coming to an end, this lockdown. It all seems to be going much better. But I don't know. I think 2021 it'll be much better with the economy will pick back up and things like that, which is
He's a
positive.
positive lad.
Instead of other things like the deaths will obviously slow down and eventually no social distancing. We'll just be back on
Mm-hmm.
the long, lonely road of life.
Oh,
Exactly.
lovely.
Very lovely, Isaac. So we'll wrap it up there. Next week we'll probably be talking about we're going to be reviewing some more EPs and albums and stuff. So we'll probably review them, have a chat about them, see what we think. But thanks for listening to this week's podcast. We'll be back next week with more stuff to talk about than Piers Morgan debating sexism, boys. So I'll see you next week. And remember, we're all alone together.